Wrestling Radio Show. I'm Jordan Tom, followed Brian Rowan. Tonight's guest, he's entering into his 5th year as a coach on staff at Army West Point. He's got previous experience at Clarion and Hofstra before he came over to the good guys. He competed at NC State. That was a 2-time NCAA qualifier, graduated in 2015, and did some time in JUCO before that. We got on Coach Joe DeAngelo. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, guys? Excited to be here.
Dude, I'm fired up. The listeners don't realize this, but we've been talking crypto and DOGE world stuff for about 10 or 15 minutes before this. So I'm just ready to go. I'm amped up. I got my stress-free tea I'm drinking.
They call him Diamond Hands DeAngelo is what they call him.
That's right. I hang on to my crypto, man.
They call me Paper Jordan, so not good.
This is the type of stuff I can't talk about in the office. I'm the only one in the office right now that's into crypto. And Coach Ward was pretty pumped when he saw Doge going up because he knew that I was hanging on to some of that. And he yelled at me pretty quick when I told him that it was going to hit $1 and that I need to hang on to it. And he's just like, "You need to sell that right now. You get rid of it."
I didn't know Coach Ward was a financial advisor type of guy. I thought he was a wrestling coach.
He's my financial advisor, coach, and golf coach as well.
Yeah. we actually got some listener questions, but we'll wait till the end for those. They were pretty good. We'll wait till some more to come in.
Right on.
So
let's learn about the man behind the myth.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you guys want to know?
So listeners know you. So you grew up in North Carolina, and I, lived in North Carolina for a hot minute. In the past, 5 years, I've seen it grow, collegiately a little bit, at the high school level, but it wasn't like that. So talk about kind of growing up in North Carolina. Your dad was, a very well-known coach in North Carolina. So talk about growing up there and kind of your upbringing. You're starting to wrestling, that's what I say.
Yeah, I love talking about this. I started wrestling when I was 6 years old. Obviously, like you said, my dad got me into it. He started a club down in North Carolina, which there wasn't a whole lot of at the time. My dad actually wrestled up in New York, so where we're at now. He's from the Binghamton area. So he had some good coaching back in the day. Knew quite a bit about wrestling. Wrestled for a semester at Lycoming College, which is a division, I think it's Division III university.
Yes, near me.
Yeah. And, when we moved to North Carolina, there was no youth programs, and my dad desperately wanted to get us into it. So instead of just, calling it quits and saying, "All right, you're going to play baseball," at 5'4", I don't think I had many other choices but for him to start a wrestling club. And so that's what ended up happening there. But, so my dad coached me from the time I was 6 to 18, actually, till I left for college. But, it's a different world. I get to see, and obviously recruit all over the country, and I get to see, different states and how the youth programs come up and everything like that. And, when I was growing up, North Carolina it was the same kids. I wrestled the same kids every weekend. We go from place to place, and I would just, it would be the same bracket. If we were in Charlotte, if we were in Raleigh, Fayetteville, it didn't matter. We were wrestling the same kids from Raleigh, Pitbull Wrestling Club, Cape Fear every once in a while. And so it's really cool now to see, wrestling grows so much in North Carolina. I think a lot of that comes from, the rise of wrestling and at the collegiate level down there. It's hard to say that, there's no correlation between packing the stands at, NC State, UNC, those type of places, and, growing the wrestling community. So it's exciting to see now.
Definitely a correlation. So you, out of high school, you grow up coaching with your dad as your coach. What, we had Anthony on several weeks back before kind of the season got really cranking in. He was talking about some of his JUCO stories. What took you up to Nassau, and just kind of what was the plan? Was the plan to go back to NC, the whole time? Was that kind of
Yeah. So
ended up? What was the story behind that?
I was a really late bloomer. I mean, I remember, I mean, I'm a stud now. We all know that. But no, but I remember getting my butt kicked for like a long time. Like even into high school, which is kind of, it's not everybody that gets recruited at a high school. That's not like their path. They're usually like the stud all the way up through, youth. But no, I got my butt kicked my freshman year and in high school. And so I just started kind of like hitting my stride, my junior and senior year. And I placed at Super 32. I didn't have a whole lot of colleges looking at me until I placed at Super 32 because I was a North Carolina runner-up my sophomore year, third place my junior year, lost to the same kid. I placed at, I don't think I even wrestled at NHSCA, but, so I didn't have a whole lot of colleges looking at me until I placed at Super 32 the beginning of my senior year. And as soon as, so it was Clarion, so UTC, or not Clarion, it was Chattanooga, so UTC. And as soon as I went on a visit, I committed. And it wasn't a good fit. I went there for a year. It wasn't a good fit program wise. And to be honest, I wasn't mature enough for Division I wrestling. And so that's what brought me to JUCO. I'd wrestled in high school at a club in Ohio for this Russian guy, Miran. And if anybody's familiar with Ohio.
I'm very familiar.
Jordan's Island, he knows him really well.
Story. There was just like a feud growing up between Team Jordan kids and Miran kids. It was like
right.
It was not a love lost there.
Yeah. Well, my dad and Miran for some reason hit it off when I was in high school. So we would drive 8 hours to go to the club up in Miran, on weekends. Especially like 3-day weekends, like Memorial Day, we'll be up there. And so through that connection, I got hooked up with Nassau because I guess all these Russian ex-Soviet guys stick together, and Vogar Aruzha is over there at Nassau. And so I went out there, and so that's what brought me to JUCO. That was kind of like my path there. But I never really, and to get back to your question, I never really thought that I would be back in North Carolina, actually, wrestling at NC State. I liked Pat when he was at Binghamton, and I wanted to go there. And just coming out of high school, I didn't have the pedigree. And then once I hit JUCO and I placed at JUCO Nationals, I started getting more in touch with, and then Pat moved to NC State, and it was just kind of like a happy accident that it worked out. They needed a 25-pounder desperately. I did not want to I transferred mid-semester after a year at JUCO, and I did not want to hop into it right away. I was just recovering from a hernia surgery, and I was like, hey man, I got half a semester left. Can we redshirt? And he goes, we don't have any 25-pounders. So you're in, man. You got to do it. So that was my first experience back into Division I at NC State, was hopping mid-semester from JUCO.
That's crazy. Here's a question then. So as a guy that was kind of like went to JUCO and came back to D1, as they call on Last Chance U, the bounce back, how often are you recruiting dudes out of JUCO now as an Army guy? I mean, I don't know if we've ever had a guy out of JUCO.
I would love to. I really would. I would absolutely love to, because I don't think, that Last Chance U, or Second Chance U, there's a lot of really good guys, and I was on teams with them. Obviously Abaddon, is another really good example. But I was on a team with a lot of talented guys, and I would gladly take those guys. But it's just a tough sell to West Point from there. And you could be a really good guy, and you can not be a West Point guy, and that's fine. And that might be the case for most of them. They just might not be West Point guys. But yeah, man, I would love to be able to recruit those JUCO guys. They're tough.
Yeah,
They're gritty.
So was that Pat Pop's first, the year that you moved? Was that his first year, or what was the timeline of him getting there? Was he there established for a couple of years? I can't recall the timeline.
No, so that was his first year. So he came in, so I came in December. Like I said, I was a mid-semester transfer, and he came in August, or he probably came in the summertime. Like most coaches moving around came in the summertime, but he came in and he cleared house when he got down there, which was like very typical to his style. When he took over at Binghamton, he did something very similar, and got rid of the guys that just weren't focused, you know,
Yep.
that type of mentality, you know, the drinking, the partying, you know, the social life, the grades not being a thing. Those are the guys that went first, you know. I wasn't actually there, but what I heard happen was, you know, he came in and, you know, he said, everybody's taking a drug test today. And like immediately, like 6 guys left, and we're just like, yeah, we're out of here. No need, save it. I'm out. Yeah.
So I guess transition into kind of the next topic with BHAW. Now, you were there like at the start of him, and like you saw kind of the program evolve while you were there, and you've probably seen it change a little bit, and get, you know, more in a positive direction since then. Have you implemented any of that, you know, or maybe, you know, still keep in contact with him to, like, you know, hone some of that? Do you think back, like, now that you're in coaching, like things he did, do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think that I have a, you know, a very similar, I take a lot from everywhere, right? And that's just how you grow as a coach. You know, mostly I take from my dad and how he raised me in coaching and everything like that. And then, you know, at NC State, seeing guys like Nick Wisdowski win a national title and being on a team, guys like him and Kevin Jack, guys that were really successful and really successful young. I you know, tried to bring some of those things to West Point in what I do. And, like, you know, the way you talk to guys is a big part of it. You know, the way that, you know, maybe you call it being a hard ass, you know, sometimes. I think that I definitely have a little bit of that in me. That's mostly from my dad, though. He was brutal.
You're a bad cop coach.
I can be bad cop coach. I think I'm funny most of the time, you know, but yeah, I'll kind of, like, I don't know, in a joking way, I'll tell you that, you know, you're not doing what you need to be doing. I don't need to, you know, mother F you every chance I get. I don't think that's the right way either. But you know, if I see something, I'm gonna be honest, you know, hey man, it's not the way you need to be doing that. That's not the attitude. I've had to kick guys out of the room. I think, as far as I know, maybe Coach Ward has kicked somebody out of the room, but I think I've kicked like 3 guys out of the room since I've been at West Point.
3 guys in 5 years? That's not that.
That's not bad at all. And usually I tell them before practice, I go, I'm kicking somebody out today. Somebody's getting kicked. Yeah.
I got
Sometimes
kicked out 3 times, so.
You what?
I said I got kicked out myself at least 3 times, so, you know, that was mostly for fighting my brother, but, you know, it is what it is.
That I'm okay with. I got no problem with that.
That's encouraged now.
Yeah, it's the lack of pace that I have a problem with. Yeah.
So you had a stint of coaching. You said you kind of take from all over. You take a lot from your dad, but you did spend some time on some other coaching staffs, Clarion and Hofstra.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of took you to those places, and then obviously what made you leave to take a chance of going to West Point, and what drew you there, and I guess what kind of keeps you there?
Yeah. You know, right out of college, I went and I coached at Hofstra with Dennis Papadatos. So Pat and Dennis were good friends. They both coached together at Binghamton. So I was really lucky that he gave me my first shot in coaching Division I, which is really difficult to get into, especially for somebody like me who's now an All-American. You know, so it was I was really fortunate, and from there I got to see what it was like to coach at a place where everything was very like intimate. It was a small team. It was a small program. You know, they had a roster cap of 20 when I was there, and I got to see some of like what it takes to grab success out of a program like that. And I left there for Clarion because it was like a step up in position. So I was a volunteer at Hofstra. I was a full-time assistant at Clarion. I got my first chance to start recruiting, going out on the road and everything like that. Little bump in pay, which was nice. Yeah. But, and then, you know, when West Point gives you a call, you gotta take it seriously and look into it. And as far as programs are concerned, you know, as far as support, size, and everything like that, West Point and Clarion are just on different playing fields. And I really like Kevin from the moment that I went and did that interview. You know, I was kind of hesitant. I kind of had like a good thing going at Clarion. I was living by myself, and like Clarion's really, really cheap. I bought a boat because I was 25 years old and I love to go fishing, and there was a river.
And you
So
had
I
all
bought.
that Doge money.
What's that?
I said, and you had all that Doge money.
Yeah, I had all that Doge money. I wish I actually maxed out my credit card to buy a boat. I wish that somebody would have told me that was a terrible idea, because I was paying it off until like my second year at West Point or something like that. So I was living a pretty good lifestyle at Clarion. But you know, West Point came knocking, and as soon as I got on to post, I was just like, man, I gotta coach here. This is another level. You know, these are totally different athletes than Hofstra and Clarion and even NC State. And so I jumped on the opportunity, and that type of, I really, really love the guys here at West Point. I care a lot about them. You know, I'm close with all the guys on the team, and that's what keeps me here. You know, I really, I believe in what Kevin's doing. I think he runs a really awesome program. I think that serious success is on the horizon for us. You know, multiple All-Americans every year, that type of thing. But the guys on the team and the support that I have from there is what keeps me at West Point. You know,
Part of it's just the support from the alumni, right?
oh yeah, for sure. All that B-row support. That's what keeps.
So did you reach out to Kevin about the job, or did they reach out to you, or how'd that go down?
So Kevin reached out to Dennis Papadatos over at Hofstra. So Dennis and Kevin are pretty good friends. And Dennis reached out to Kevin reached out to Dennis. Dennis gave him my name and said, you know, you got to interview this guy. You got to bring him on. And so that's how that kind of worked. So then he gave me a call, and I I drove all the way there, and from Clarion, I think it's like a 7 hour drive, 6.5 hour drive. I drove like, I think I stopped at my parents' lake house on the way, and then drove the rest of the way. And when I came back, I was just like, I told my parents, I was just like, I got to go to this place. This is awesome. I hope I get this job.
Did you think you like nailed the interview when you talked to him?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm pretty good at interviewing, you know. But
what's an interview with Kevin like? Like what kind of questions is he like? I
mean, it's about what you would expect. It's pretty relaxed, you know.
I don't know what to expect in a wrestling interview.
I mean, can you still wrestle? Can you recruit? You know, are you personable? Are you intelligent enough to handle office work? You know, that was, you know, he didn't lay it out like that. He had a lot smarter ways of asking those questions.
Are you intelligent enough to do office work? Nah.
Yeah.
Well, when I think of an interview, I think of like, okay, you wear a suit and tie and you go into an office and you do that. But for a wrestling coach position, I feel like it's like you're on the mat wrestling. It's like, hey, let me see your single leg technique here or something. Like, I don't know.
So I actually did wear a suit and tie, and I believe it was July at West Point, and it was incredible. Like Arvin Gym, obviously, is hot like all the time. Winter, summer, it doesn't matter. It's hot. And I was like, I was in a full suit, sweating bullets. Kevin's like sitting across from me in like golf shorts and a polo. And he's just like, I appreciate the effort that you're making, but man, it's like 90 degrees. Do you want to take your jacket off? I was like, yeah, I think I will. Appreciate it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So kind of moving into, your coaching at West Point, we've talked, with Coach Ward a few times about, how as fans and as alumni, like the expectations have changed over the last couple of years. We've had, 7 NCAA qualifiers or more, sometimes at, going to NCAAs the last few years. From an assistant coach perspective, how does that affect like your goals for the program and maybe how you like implement stuff each year? Does that change anything, or is it just, you just kind of do the same thing and kind of build on that?
No, it definitely changes things. When you start seeing success, you want more, right? 7 qualifiers is great. We're all happy with that, but you want more. You want all 10. You think about all those opportunities where, guys could have qualified. I could think of a few of them, this year. Just we were, a takedown away, literally a takedown away from qualifying, 8 guys, and we were a match away from qualifying, again, another takedown away from qualifying 9 guys. So in 2 different matches, so it's just frustrating in that sense that you get success and then you're just hungry for more. And so what that means for me as a coach is I have to, continue to elevate my style, my approach, the way we think about things when we come into the season, when we come into matches, how we prepare. We always, as me and Chuck as, assistants to Kevin, we kind of have to be that yin and yang, and we got to kind of think outside the box sometimes as we approach things, and so, as we continue to grow, I'm going to have to continue to grow as a coach. And otherwise I'm not really contributing as much as I'd like to hope.
So we as you've had more success, more NCAA qualifiers, there's got to be some cool stories, at NCAAs. Anything you can share, you remember some high moments, maybe not as many of the low moments, but, what sticks out from your coaching career so far at Army that you reminisce about?
Well, this year was a little different because of COVID and everything like that. It was a little bit more, it wasn't quite as, we didn't have the fans and all that stuff. It was really kind of like intimate. Yeah, we had you. Yeah, we had the box office, but it was different. It was different. I think about like, so Pittsburgh, we were coming back from a workout, and we were going to the workout, and the guys always bring like this big old speaker with them, right? And this was the year that we had like Carhartt vests, and so like Rocco Kaywood was part of that crew, and he's tall and he's carrying this ginormous speaker, and we walk into the arena and we're playing our own music, like NCAAs, they got the music playing over top, and we just throw our speaker on the mat for our warm up, and we're playing like Army songs, like paratrooper songs, you guys know. I don't know the names of them, right? But that's what these guys are playing, and they're just like, I was like, this is us, man. We're gonna come into a room and we're gonna, take over. We're the Army team, So that's what I think about there. That trip to Pittsburgh was really fun in that sense. Yeah.
That was a fun weekend. Whew.
There's a bad story. I'll tell you this one. I think we're long past. I don't think the hotel's going to come back at me. So we're coming back from that workout, and the hotel had a big revolving door, and the guys were going through the door and they were like pushing it hard so that the next person behind them had to like hustle through, and it was like, let's see how fast we can get through the door. And, you know, cause we had a lot of energy for whatever. We're excited to be at the national tournament. And, I was the last one to go through the door, and I whipped through that door and it shattered, like full revolving door, pane in front of me, shatters. It must have caught like a screw or something like that. I have no idea what happened. And I had not seen like my team scatter more like quicker than I was all by myself. Like they were all there and then they were all gone. It was just me and Colonel Cook, and he was just standing there taking pictures of me. Nothing came of it, thankfully, but yeah, I felt like that was a not so great part of that trip.
They weren't going down for that.
No, they weren't going down for that. They were gonna leave me for that one.
So what did the hotel say? Were you like, hey?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I just walked away. I actually, I think I went to the desk and I said, "Hey, somebody broke the door," and then I went up to my.
Somebody's gonna need to clean that up.
Yeah, I was real nice.
Some guy down there named Seabass.
Yeah. Some ginormous guy broke that door. I don't know how he did it, but
he looked like a squid. He had a big N on his shirt, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, he was wearing blue and gold. Go get him.
So part of that longevity of success and being there 5 years, you've seen an entire recruiting class through from recruiting all the way through graduation, which obviously is super cool when you see the entire experience that they go through at West Point and then being, you know, commissioned. So talk through recruiting. It's obviously a big part of the assistant coach. I know you and Coach Chuck share that. How do you do that and balance it with some of the other things you do as an assistant coach? And maybe what are kind of the big responsibilities that you have specifically?
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there. Like, so recruiting at West Point's obviously a little bit different. You know, we still want to get the same guy, but it's always going to be a little bit different, right? So West Point, you can't have, you know, ADD, you know, you can't be taking medication, you can't have allergies. And so that for me is like the most frustrating part. You know, we still want to go get the best guys in the country. We still want to go get guys that can, you know, that get decent grades and, you know, get decent test scores, you know, and from in that sense, the prep school helps us out a lot with that. But yeah, that's my biggest frustration there is, and that's what, you know, really makes things different from recruiting to West Point. It's just the little nuances of West Point. You know, I'll be recruiting a kid and be really high on him, and you know, he's super pumped and he's heard about West Point and he likes everything about the program and he wants to, you know, come take a visit. And I ask him, "Hey man, you got any allergies? You carry an EpiPen?" He goes, yeah, I'm allergic to shellfish or something like that. I'm like, dang, man, dang, that's tough. I can't do anything with that. You know, I'm sorry, you know, and there's been quite a few times where that's the case. One time I was talking to this kid. I won't tell you where he was from or anything like that. He had some good results, like from tournaments. I go, I like the way this kid wrestles. I better give him a call. We're talking. He's super pumped, interested in West Point, love to serve our country and everything like that. Go, that's great, you know. And I go, I got to ask you just some really dumb questions. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, do you have any allergies? No. Do you take medication? No. Okay, great. You got any face tattoos? No face tattoos. We're laughing. Ha ha ha. You know, you ever been convicted of any felonies? He goes, yeah, actually. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Not that I would want this kid anyway, now that, you know, he's been convicted of a felony, but like, what is that?
Just a little small little hang up.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. That's going to be a hang up. You know, I didn't talk to him anymore.
That's like, what prep school's for, right? There's a waiver for that, right?
I don't think that there's a soup waiver for a felony. Yeah. But, you know, for me, like in balancing all of that, you know, I play a big part in a lot of the planning that we do as a team, you know, from travel to, you know, the way we train and things like that. And so recruiting is really done here at my house. I watch video, I look at the results, and, but, I'm talking to guys after practice, when I leave and I'm driving over the mountain on 9W. That's when I do a lot of that as far as, workplace balance and that type of stuff is concerned. And so that's where that kind of falls into place. Coach Shuck, he's a big picture guy when it comes to recruiting. He does a lot there. For me, it's keeping track of the guys. It's recruiting the state of Pennsylvania pretty hard. Right now I'm into some guys down in North Carolina, recruiting them, keeping in contact with different clubs, working with Team PA Fargo, when I get the chance to, when it's not pandemic. I go out and I help with that team, and just keep those connections up. That's a big part of the recruiting process for me, getting on the road, recruiting events when we can.
So you said there's a lot of great guys out there, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily a West Point guy. What is a West Point guy in your words?
Yeah, well, a West Point guy is like a guy that can go out there. The most important thing right now is that he finds a way to win, right? That's a West Point guy. And that's what we want from, social life to wrestling. We want a guy that finds a way to win, where, he's focused, he's got everything in check, from grades to, not wanting to be a party animal, to coming in the room every day and wanting to beat the crap out of your partner and, shove him into a wall because, it's going to make you better and it's going to make him better, And so that's a West Point guy. We could find those guys that, that win. But at the end of the day, we talk to the coaches, we talk to the club coaches, we talk to the high school coaches, and they're honest, hey, this isn't a guy that you want. He's not a hard worker. He's going to struggle, but those guys that the coaches are like, hey man, you have to take this kid. He's the best kid that I got. Those are the West Point guys, and the guys that go out there and win at the same time, because that's where we are as a program. We want those guys that are coming in with that talent, with that pedigree, that want to come in and they want to start right away, and make a difference right away. We don't need guys to be 3-year backups. We don't need that type of mentality. We want guys that are ready to come in and, knock some heads in.
High expectations and no excuses. I love it.
Yeah.
Excuses are for wusses.
So they say.
That's what they say.
So what's recruiting like right now? So we know that, Kevin kind of talked, that was probably like a month and a half ago now. Are you guys able to have recruits on post? Are you able to go visit them? Like, how does that work now?
So along with the NCAA restrictions, West Point has its own set of restrictions right now. So nobody across the board is supposed to be going out and visiting campuses. Coaches aren't supposed to be going out and seeing athletes or recruitable athletes or anything like that. But for West Point, if you're committed and you have your letter and you're going to West Point, you could come on and do they call it a window tour, where you just stay in your car and do a tour of West Point. And that's the most that anybody has been able to come on West Point in the last, what has it been, like 15 months or something like that? Yeah.
Wow.
I'll reach out to some of these guys who are coming. I'll be like, hey, I'll give you the real tour. You can get out of your car with me. I just want to tell you guys about it.
Yeah. But either way,
alert.
Even if they were allowed to go out and see everything, we wouldn't be allowed to see them, Yeah. We wouldn't be allowed to be in contact with them. That's the NCAA rule. So recruiting right now is a lot of phone calls, a lot of text, a lot of watching high school tournaments, and a lot of Zoom calls, which has been interesting. I'm ready to get out there and actually see these guys and talk to parents, talk to kids, talk to coaches in person at tournaments, at club practices, whatever. I'm ready to get out there, man.
So if coaches can't talk to them or see them in person, if they're at junior nationals this past weekend, are they allowed to talk to them there? How does that work? Is that like the gray area kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's kind of like the gray area kind of stuff. That USA wrestling realm, kind of tricky. So I'm sure some coaches get away with that. You're not supposed to, but they can get away with that.
Yeah. So I came up over the weekend. I golfed with Coach Ward, Colonel Cook, and Colonel Gist. Might I add, Colonel Cook, he's a maniac. Everybody knows he's a maniac, but on the golf course, nothing changes. He had a bad shot pretty much every time, and he rocked. He got so mad he was trying to break his clubs, brand new clubs, and just rocking the golf cart. But it reminded me, because I was talking to Kevin I was like, oh, we have Joe coming on this week. And it reminded me of that video of your swing at Dick's. Was that
Listen, no, it wasn't at Dick's. It was at the Back Nine, which is an indoor like golf bar. So take that into consideration. My hands were greasy from the chicken wings and everything like that. I've gotten a lot better since then, I will admit. So first off, I went and I bought my own golf clubs, thanks to Doge. Thank you, Doge. They're my Doge golf clubs. I went and we spent a little bit of money on them. But I got my own golf clubs. I've been playing, practicing in my spare time. I'm really hitting my stride here in golf. I don't lose the ball quite as much. Let's put it that way. I could probably, unless I just get terrible drives, I probably lose like 6 to 8 balls. That's not bad. That's good golf.
Okay.
That's fun golf. That's, have a couple beers golf right there.
That's good amateur golf right there.
Yeah. So it's a lot better. Kevin did promise me golfing lessons. He never followed up on that, but he has let me borrow quite a bit of golfing equipment. So I'm going to let that one slide. He's let me borrow his golf bag, a putter, a rescue club. I don't even know what that is. I gave that back. But his ball retriever, that's made me money, so I can't be too mad about him not following up on the golf lessons. We'll chalk it up to another COVID related issue.
We'll have to play one of these weekends. I'm going to start making it a regular thing where I come up and play.
Yeah, come up, man.
Like once or twice a month.
Please do.
I need to get out there.
You think I'm better than you at this point?
I hope so.
You're not a very good golfer.
No.
Kevin said
I look the part. I look like I shoot a 77.
I try to look like John Daly out there. So, no, just the way I dress and the way I, carry myself.
There's nothing BHAW doesn't go top of the line for. So.
Yeah, I may only shoot a 107, but I look like I shoot a 77.
There you go. That's good.
No, I played really. This is actually the first time I played this year, this past weekend. So it was, well, it wasn't the best, but I probably tied Colonel Cook. Paul Young messaged me when I put the clip up, and he goes, "Where's the clip of him breaking his putter?" I guess he broke a club or two when Paul was there.
Oh wow!
Not a surprise.
Mm-mm. That dude is intense from start to finish.
Yeah, he's got one speed.
Yeah.
Aside from upping your golf game and beating BHAW in the future, what's your goals long term? How long you plan on staying in the Army? We'll ask you.
Oh, you'll throw the hard questions on me right away.
Yeah.
I plan on staying here honestly as long as I can until something that makes sense for me. I'm a fairly young guy. I'd like to be a head coach one day, and if an opportunity arises for me to be a head coach, then it's really difficult to pass up on those type of things. But I'm in no rush to leave West Point to hop out of here. I'm a senior this year is the way I like to look at it. This class of guys that are graduating, started as plebes when I was here and now firsties. So it's been a really incredible experience. And, every time I look back on it, it's nothing but, awesome memories. So I'm in no rush. B-Row, your cat is killing me right now. You guys,
Willie.
like, it's Willie is the cat. It's just perched up on behind B-Row's head here, and I'm having a really hard time focusing.
Well, One-Eye Willie. What?
Yeah,
You said memories. You said you have a lot of good memories. What's your best memory at West Point outside of wrestling?
Man, there's so much. I think that, just every time I get to hang out with these guys, the guys on the team, and not necessarily in the wrestling room, even though we have a lot of fun there, and we really do, we have a lot of fun in the wrestling room. That's one of the awesome things about these guys at West Point is they come in, they're ready to work hard, and they like to have fun. But like any chance we get to kind of relax a little bit, whether it's at Coach Ward's house or down at South Dock or anything like that, and hang out as a team. Man, those are just some awesome times. Nothing really, it's really difficult to pinpoint one thing. This past year all right. So one example is this past year after being in quarantine for months, finally get back to West Point, and I finally get to see the guys for like the first time. And we have a cookout down at South Dock, and I'm grilling, man. I probably grilled up 150 burgers or something like that. And everybody was just hanging out, throwing a frisbee, playing cornhole, playing music and everything like that. And just being able to see the guys for the first time in a long time. That was a great memory. That's an awesome time hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, I bet it was hard. The separation and all that.
It's not the same through Zoom, we kept in touch. We did workouts together and stuff like that on Zoom, but it's definitely not the same. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ready to get back to normal life.
No kidding. Yeah.
So moving forward, who do you want to hear on the show? We got to line up. We've been doing this for a year now. It was like yesterday or the day before, I got a memory on Facebook that we like started the Instagram page and we did the 4 posts. I actually screenshot it and was going to send it to Jordan and forgot. But it's crazy that it's been like a year. This is the episode 42.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. We're like, okay, I wouldn't say we're necessarily scrapping for people, but who do you want to hear that we haven't had on yet?
Well, you've had quite a few alumni. I think I'm not sure. Have you had anybody from the class of 21 yet? Like Bobby Heald would be a good one. I think when he graduates in May, bring him back for some BHAW radio, a fresh alumni. But other than that, I think a really good perspective would be Colonel Giss, master of the sword at West Point and the head OR. I think that he loves wrestling. He loves talking wrestling. I think, he would be a good one to bring on the show as well. So somebody from the class of 21 and Colonel Giss, I think would be a good one.
We'll pencil him in. We've organized like the next like month or so, but after graduation, I think we'll let the firsties enjoy a little bit of free time, and then we'll get them on. Do you know who's staying on as the AIs? Are there AIs this year?
Yeah, we got a crew, man. We always keep a crew. We got Bobby Heald is staying on down with us. Lane Peters is going up to the prep school and being the AI up there. And then outside of that, we got Bo Guffey and Bennett Paulson. And I would feel bad if I missed somebody there, but I think that's it.
Did Will Simpson hook all that up again?
He did. Of course he did. He crushes it every single time. Yeah. No, he hooked it up.
So we have a couple listener questions. Most related to the golf swing incident. Lane Peters asks, do you swing with your eyes closed?
No, I don't swing with my eyes closed, although sometimes I get way ahead of myself and I take my eyes off the ball. And that's usually when it's a big swing and a miss. But Lane Peters needs to know that I'm coming for him. We're both getting up there in weight. We're on the same weightlifting program. I'm just a couple weeks behind him. He's up to 170, and I'm on his tail, man. I'm ready to catch him. So that's what Lane Peters needs to know.
Yeah, he posted a thirst trap last night, and he goes, "Hey, I'm at 170. I think I need to lean. Do I think I need to lean out?" And he looks extremely lean.
He's very lean. Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean lean out? Just take away muscle?
He thinks that he's got some fat. And by Lane Peters standards, I guess you could say that he does have some fat, but Lane Peters standards in like the rest of the world are on completely different fields. So he was sincere with that question. That wasn't necessarily a thirst trap. Although I do appreciate you bringing that term back, B-Row. That's from a bit more of my time. I like that.
And then Rocco Kaywood asked, this is unrelated to the video, I think, are you related to Freddie Mercury? Strong resemblance.
He's talking about when I grow my mustache. No resemblance, although I think I say I rock a mustache better than Freddie Mercury. I think I have the strongest mustache in the Northeast. So, that's a pretty bold statement, but I stand by it when I grow it out.
Well, that's a good note to end on. What do you say, Jordan?
I love it. It's a great ending note.
I'm gonna have to change all my social media now to be the strongest mustache in the Northeast. If I'm gonna say that on radio, that is a bold statement.
Make the claim and own it.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, just change that handle. The handle needs an update. What is it, Joe DeAngelo 125?
Yeah, I'm no longer 125. That's for sure.
Yeah, it needs to be like Joe DeAngelo, 170 mustache man, something.
Not quite yet, but we're getting there.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on. You got anything else that you want to tell the fan base, tell the alumni, tell our?
No, man, I just really love what you guys are doing, and I'm really happy to be on. Can't wait to do it again. We get on here with a few other people, we could really get a party going.
Yeah, we'll get on the golf. We'll do one live from the golf course.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Stay tuned. That's up next. All righty, Coach. Well, appreciate having you on. Go Army. Beat everybody.
Sure.
Thanks for tuning in to the BHAW Radio Show. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. If there's something you'd like to hear on a future show, reach out to us on any of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Or you can reach us at email, bhaw.radio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, go Army, be Navy.